Imagine it's a cold December morning in New York City, 1910, on the lavish East 79th Street. A young woman named Dorothy Harriet Camille Arnold steps out of her family's grand mansion. She's 25, elegant, well-educated, and the daughter of a wealthy perfume importer. To the outside world, she is everything privilege, beauty, and a future brighter than the city lights. But within hours, she would vanish without a trace. And more than a century later, her story remains one of the most baffling mysteries New York has ever known. Dorothy told her mother she was heading out to buy a new evening gown. Dressed in a stylish navy blue suit and a black velvet hat, she carried about $30 in cash, a hefty sum back then. Around 11 in the morning, she waved goodbye and walked down the iconic Fifth Avenue, a bustling street filled with horse-drawn carriages and the city's elite. It was the place to see and be seen. Her first stop was Brentano's bookstore, one of her favorite spots. She bought a book titled Engaged Girl Sketches and ran into a friend, Gladys King. Gladys later said Dorothy seemed perfectly cheerful. Dorothy mentioned she was planning to walk home through Central Park. And that was the last confirmed sighting of her, when Dorothy didn't return home that evening. Her family started to worry, but they didn't panic just yet. It wasn't unheard of for her to stay late with friends, but the next morning, as her room remained empty, a deep sense of fear began to set in. The Arnolds were a prominent family in New York's high society. Her father, Francis Arnold, was a well-respected businessman. The family dreaded a scandal more than anything else, so instead of immediately calling the police, they hired private investigators from the famous Pinkerton Detective Agency. The detectives searched everywhere: hospitals, hotels, boarding houses. They even checked the city morgues, looking for any unidentified young woman matching Dorothy's description. They found nothing. It was as if she had simply evaporated into thin air. 6 long weeks passed before her father finally went public. He held a press conference, offering a massive $1,000 reward for any information. Suddenly, the story exploded. Newspapers across the country ran sensational headlines: "Socialite vanishes on Fifth Avenue." Crowds gathered outside the Arnold mansion, and the rumor mill began to churn with wild theories. Some speculated that Dorothy had eloped with a secret lover. Others believed she had taken her own life months before she disappeared. Dorothy had tried to start a career as a writer, but her first short story was rejected by a magazine. Her family admitted she took the rejection very hard, perhaps too personally, but investigators found no evidence of a secret romance and no signs that she was depressed or suicidal. Then, a much darker theory emerged. Whispers around the city suggested Dorothy might have been pregnant and sought an illegal abortion, a procedure that was not only dangerous but deeply shameful at the time. Anonymous tips claimed she had died during the procedure and her body was secretly disposed of to cover up the scandal. One doctor's clinic was even raided by police, but there was no record of Dorothy ever being a patient. The case took even stranger turns. A fellow socialite claimed she saw Dorothy months later, alive and well in Paris. Other sightings were reported from California and Chicago. None of these leads could be confirmed, but they kept the mystery burning in the public's imagination. Years later, in 1916, a woman in a Rhode Island prison claimed her cellmate had confessed to helping dispose of Dorothy Arnold's body. Police investigated this claim as well, but once again, they hit a dead end. No evidence, no body, no closure. Francis Arnold never stopped searching for his daughter. He spent a fortune trying to find her, refusing to believe she had run away or ended her own life, until his death in 1922. He was convinced that she had been kidnapped and murdered, he told reporters. I am certain she met with foul play. She would not have left us willingly. Dorothy's disappearance became one of the first major media sensations of the 20th century. Her face was everywhere, a haunting portrait of a young woman frozen in time, forever known as the girl who vanished on Fifth Avenue. But what makes her case so unsettling isn't just the lack of answers. This happened in broad daylight, in the middle of Manhattan, one of the busiest places on Earth. How does a person simply disappear from one of the most crowded streets in America without anyone seeing a thing? Modern researchers have their own theories. Some believe Dorothy orchestrated her own disappearance to escape the rigid expectations of her family and start a new life under a different name. Others point to early reports of a mysterious man seen talking to her near Central Park, suggesting she may have been targeted, but over a century later. The case of Dorothy Arnold remains officially unsolved. Her name is still listed in police archives under missing persons never found. No body was ever recovered. No death certificate was ever issued. Today, her story stands as one of New York's oldest and most enduring mysteries, a chilling reminder that even in the heart of a city that never sleeps, a person can vanish, leaving behind nothing but questions. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into history's greatest mysteries.